Penn State 38, SMU 10. The Nittany Lions get their first college football playoff victory. James Franklin has his 100th win. That's Sean Fitz, Nate Bauer. I'm Greg Pickel, Blue White Illustrated. Sean, Penn State has 2 pick sixes in the first half that turns what looked like a disjointed defensive effort to start around quickly after a fourth down stop in the first quarter as well. Initial thoughts on this game, what it means for Penn State?
Yeah, you weren't sure what to think. Penn State got a stop on its first play, went to celebrate, and all of a sudden SMU was going. So tempo was a big thing early, went right down the field. Penn State got a stop on fourth down. It was a very good play by Zakee Wheatley, but at the same time, they put themselves in a spot to get scored on early, and that's obviously the slow starts have been bugging them. But turned it around in a big way. Dom DeLuca cannot say enough about the former walk-on. I think every other question in the postgame was about Dom DeLuca, and rightfully so. He was awesome, absolutely awesome. Right place, right time. They did struggle with generating turnovers this year as a defense. Today, that was not a question. They found themselves in some fortunate spots and then did the work themselves. The offense, you're looking at us. We're freezing right now. The offense seemed to be in a similar state all first half. Eventually did turn it around. So defense carried the load until the offense was able to get on the front foot, and then a lot of fun in Beaver Stadium for a December kickoff. So Penn State eventually rolled, but very impressive performance once they got going.
Yeah, final game in this version of Beaver Stadium. That big renovation project starts, of course, soon. Nate, just your initial thoughts on what this means for Penn State, obviously, as they get ready to move forward now to play Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I thought just for the game itself, how much game flow dictates everything, right? They didn't start well, obviously, but to have a pick six and then to do it again changes everything, right? It changed the entire dynamic of Penn State's offense not being good. It changed it to allow them to just run the ball and just kind of cram it down their throats, as opposed to SMU, which was constantly and consistently in bad down and distance situations offensively, which let Penn State's defense kind of feast. So, yeah, I don't have. It's so cold out here. It is really cold, and I think that Penn State, this is a fitting end to a lot of things, but specifically this version of the stadium. Penn State will absolutely look forward to playing inside in a very warm climate otherwise in Phoenix. And yeah, look, I think the conversation about James Franklin and winning 100 games, James Franklin winning big games, I think we can call this a big game, maybe. Right? It's probably a conversation for another time, but still maybe a warmer time. Still a significant step for this program to get where it's going.
Sean, the Penn State rushing attack has been really good over the last 2 weeks. What have you seen, and obviously the Oregon game in this one, that has really allowed them to get going?
I don't think it's anything schematic. I think Penn State's offensive line has done a better job, and SMU really stymied them for the first quarter or so. But you were talking to James Franklin in the postgame. You talked to Andy Kotelnicki in the postgame. They both emphasize not being on the heels, being on your toes, and it's very simple. It's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But Penn State has been so much more aggressive in the run fit calls. In fact, in the first quarter, they weren't. That was a very it looked like 2023 out there, going to the pass so often. I don't know if that's what they felt they had to do, or if that was the way to sort of soften some things up. But eventually, once they started going, Dom DeLuca got the pick down here. The one non-pick six was huge. And then Penn State put together its first 9-play, 75-yard drive. They had 2 of those. And the second one was all runs. So they basically told SMU, hey, we're going to do this. You're going to have to stop us. SMU could not. I cannot emphasize enough, and this is something I struggled with all week, was how much would the home field advantage be? How much would be 22 degrees, wind chill of 10?
22, I think it's like 5. But yeah, anyway.
Okay, well, yes, but no, when they were playing, it was the humidity. No, it was something that SMU was not prepared for. You can't emulate that. You can't do that. Penn State came out. They started hitting. They hit the quarterback, which was a big key coming in. And then all of a sudden, they started getting the ball thrown to them, essentially. Guys made great plays, don't get me wrong. But when you are getting hit, you are more likely to try to get rid of the ball as fast as you can. They did that. They found Don DeLuca. They found Tony Rojas, who did a wonderful job returning his pick six. And then all of a sudden, Penn State was like, hey, this isn't foreign to us. We're going to do what we came out to do, which was just pound the rock. And SMU's defense, run defense, was very, very much built up during the week. wasn't all that great.
No.
It wasn't all that great, and Penn State was able to work around it even without Bo Prabula in it. Penn State just did a fantastic job of stuffing it down their throats.
Yep. Nate, do you have any?
I thought that Kevin Jennings was the wild card coming into the game, and he was. Like, that's at the end of the day, when SMU looks back on this game and when Penn State looks back on this game, it's the mistakes of their quarterback. And so, it created the conditions for Penn State to cruise in a lot of ways, right? I mean, just it never turned into – there was never a point where even SMU coming out at the start of the second half and scoring a field goal, there was never a threat. And so for Penn State is a program, is a team that loves to play from that spot. They've been doing it all year. They will grind you to death, and those were the circumstances that arose today, and they took advantage of it.
Sean, 10 days from the Fiesta Bowl, final thoughts as Penn State moves forward to don't fall. That's close. Sorry, it's probably a little rickety as the wind blows. As Penn State moves on to play Boise State.
It's great. It's a great emphasis for what we're dealing with against the elements here. Yeah. Those guys, by the way, I mean, find a bowling ball and go kick it, and that's what you were looking at with special teams and stuff today. So I mean, those are the challenges that this provides. But if Penn State can keep up what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, they're going to play on turf. They're going to play inside. They're going to play in warmer temperatures. They have shown the ability and the initiative on offense that they can go out and score with a lot of different teams. So I think that's very encouraging. And the defense to turn back around from what we saw in Indianapolis. I mean, you look at this performance, and yes, the offense didn't have its flow early, but like when you're playing in this, I mean, you get to 38 points. That's ridiculous. So all around, a really good showing for Penn State, and you got to like it going into a matchup with Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl. That's a couple weeks away, but I think Penn State favored even greater than they were today.
Yep. Blue White Illustrated. It's $1 for 7 days of access. News, intel, and information about Penn State as its college football playoff runs continue. That's Sean Fitz, Nate Bauer. I'm Greg Pickel. We'll talk to you next time from, well, I guess